The portals that connect the world to other dimensions are called gates, and beyond these beings, known as hunters, hunt down these evil spirits in the dungeons, who's also a hunter. But his life isn't as glamorous as it sounds. He has her, the weakest hunter out there. He's not strong, but he has no choice. His struggle to make a living as a hunter finally led to his death when he challenged a room where he discovers his system and gains a whole new perspective on life as he completes quests and hunts monsters. As he levels up, he reaching S rank. And this is where his story begins. In the city up until now has been an average guy with mediocre skills. He doesn't feel good at lack of strength in the hunter job. He's on his way to a construction site in Seoul people have already gathered. But unlike our boy, everyone seems excited for him, and the guy with curly hair is Park. As they're exchanging pleasantries, and quickly waves at him, Sung Jinwoo responds with a friendly smile as well. This guy is strong, to which Kim responds with a no, since Jinwoo is and talk about how, while Sung Jinwoo holds the title of the weakest hunter, the old man is happy that Choi Jong-in isn't participating in this raid, especially with so few strong hunters around. Meanwhile, Sung Jinwoo can clearly orders a coffee, but his luck is so bad that he can't even get a cup of coffee. A girl who starts berating him. This girl is apparently Juhee, and she's also on his face, and is bummed to learn that he was even hospitalized just because he got in. The group was strong. They didn't feel the need to bring a healer, and things got out of others are that they did not even bring a healer. Sung Jinwoo reassures her, saying to enter the dungeon. One guy, known as Song, volunteers to take charge hunter in the group. Everyone quickly agrees, and there are no objections. With that, Sung Jinwoo to stay in the back so he doesn't get hurt. He agrees and starts following. Meanwhile, a few people on the site are talking about Sung Jinwoo. They reflect on. One guy says it's just a D-rank dungeon, so nothing too bad is likely to happen. Juhee is doing her best to treat his injuries while the other hunters in the party. Woo takes a look at his fellow hunters, who seem pretty satisfied with the easy hunt they just. Any reason he can't quit being a hunter. Since our boy doesn't want to reveal his personal, he does it as a hobby. Meanwhile, in charge of the group, Song reveals to everyone that when even a C-rank magic beast will drop an essence stone worth over 10 million from being able to fight a C-rank magic beast. Right now, Jinwoo is holding life on the line. Suddenly, one of the hunters calls out that there's still another. Song points out that it's a double dungeon, the first one he's ever seen. He then revealing just how deep the tunnel is. Song gathers everyone up and boss. Since the gate is still open, it means they still have to fight the boss and wait for them to make a decision. Song doesn't want anyone else to get their hands themselves. He asks all 17 of them to vote before proceeding with the plan, but Juhee is one of the few who decides against it. Now up to Sung Jinwoo to decide the fate of everyone. Since Jinwoo is desperate he votes to venture inside. As they keep walking, everyone starts to panic. Jinwoo apologizes to Juhee, saying she got roped into this because of his vote. A look on her face that she's annoyed. She's definitely not okay with this idea of going. Jinwoo just got beaten up badly. He still wants to continue. Jinwoo apologizes only because of her healing powers that he's still alive. After all, she's ranked as a B. He calms down and tells him that if he really wants to repay her, he can just treat her to him the girl. And he's left in stunned silence. Juhee spooks him by asking forth in the background. The party finally reaches a dead end, and a massive door stands dangerous to go any further. But their leader, Song, isn't willing to go empty. There's nothing to worry about. Eventually, everyone decides to place their faith in him, who ranks pretty high in C rank. The gate opens without much effort, and ins lined up. But the place is covered in mold and dust, which explains that this is holding something different in its hands, and in the middle of it all stands a massive. Anyway, after looking around for a while, they don't see any monsters. Strange divination circle. Not only that, but one of the statues is holding a rune temple. As Song begins reading the text aloud, Juhee nudges Jinwoo for some mysterious reason. Jinwoo starts to feel a creepy sensation. He continues reading the scripture, completely unaware of what's about to happen. The slammed shut. Panic spreads as everyone realizes they're trapped. One of the hunters, he declares he's leaving. Treasure or not, they all can shove it in their ass. In a booming voice yells at him not to touch the door handle, but it's already too late. Its weapon cuts the man's head clean off like it's nothing. After the brutal display, leaving everyone completely stunned. Juhee clings to Jinwoo in terror. Remembers how Juhee had pointed out that the giant statue's pupils were moving earlier, only to see its eyes glowing ominously now. The hunters are left speechless. When it comes to their minds is fighting back, but they can't make a direct approach just after one of those things in just one hit. Jinwoo believes that monsters as strong as them to the time when he encountered a near-death experience. He accidentally broke a W-rank monster and was hospitalized for weeks. The helpless hunter almost starved. Experiences were in low-ranked dungeons. He put his life on the line. Orbs. He has always been unequipped because he doesn't have the power to gather the magical card, and since he wasn't able to match their pace, they named him the world's weak, thrown at him, and inefficiently worked a job that could result in his death. The massive statue at the center changes its eye direction, and upon noticing it from the statue's unprecedented beam attack. Cheol, the party leader, Jinwoo tries to call the healer Juhee, but she doesn't respond to any of his call. Fear, and that she hasn't experienced something so brutal like this dungeon before. Survival, saying that if it weren't for his calls, no one would have survived, and he is bleeding non-stop. This is really bad news. Quickly grabbing a clean since he's the most experienced hunter here, Cheol horrifically senses dungeons he had been to before never had monsters of this caliber. This discovery, the hunters learn about the Kartanon Temple's commandments. The third to prove your faith. Those who do not follow these commandments will never return. There's his suspicion, believing that the god being referenced here is actually the connects other worlds to ours. You can think of them like portals. 10 years ago, events, and one of those bizarre things was the existence of hunters. Sung Jinwoo became a hunter too, but his strength was only enough for an E rank. He received powers, chose to cross the gate and fight the threats. They are now called hunters. Gates can be ominous, despairing, and insane monsters. The party leader quick swoop. However, one got obliterated so brutally that not even his life. And lastly, Juhee, a B-rank healer, has combat experience tells him that their survival can be guaranteed only if they just stay, and when there's a chance to make a move, then they should prioritize evading. They would still have to deal with the guard statue. Suddenly, one of the huntrosity decides to go through the door. However, he is completely really thought he was Usain Bolt. This is where our boy realizes that these statues is different from others. It's not attacking blindly. The observant hunter dungeon room has a rule. He deciphers the puzzle through the commandments of Kartanon. Upon learning that it's worshipping the Lord, he tells Cheol that the statue doesn't attack when it moves past a certain height. The E-rank hunter finally understands the gravity, explaining that it won't attack below a certain height. The commandment him in this case. Everyone is initially reluctant to bow down to a stone statue. Every single one of them chooses to kneel. And when Jinwoo steals a glance at the colossus, helpless in a critical situation, our boy wonders how long they have to bow to do this forever, right? When everyone's questioning whether they would be fine now because they have that they are going to be fine, believing that the statue will no longer attack them. Despite their efforts to crack the rules, the hunter's actions ended up provoking height comparable to Godzilla. All of a sudden, the statue stomps one of its feet commandment, believing that it must be the key to their survival. One hunter on his own, and so he takes a step closer to the statue and begins praising it. Their party member sings the praises of the statue, but despair sets in as our boy, but he's too late to act accordingly. The consequence? A brutal Jinwoo tells the party leader and the hunters to separate out of precaution. Bak is also a father of two and wants to live against all odds. Unfortunately, faced against a horrifying being crushing the hunters like ants, stone guards, and in front is the colossal statue, prone to attack when a weapon. One key detail that he notices is that every statue has a different weapon. When the hunters get close to the guards, they attack because they move based on predetermined instruments, wondering if they would react differently. He instructs the hunters to fight. The statues begin to play the instruments the instant the hunters approach them, since holding the musical instrument above them doesn't react. Again, this comes to realize that the statue won't play the instrument until at least one of them moves, leaving Juhee near that statue so he could run to the closest one nearby. He sees it holding a shield, realizing that he has messed up badly. From the very beginning, the kid was holding onto a thread that kept him from dying. Despite the fact this dude nearly got squashed, he miraculously makes it to an statue ultimately freezes, because of the praises from the instrument-holding state, and becomes even more frightened upon glancing at Jinwoo's leg. He didn't even realize that his leg was sliced off during the shield-holding statue's ambush. Doesn't work, because she's in a terrible condition herself and has used up most of her 6 are left, out of which 2 are gravely injured. Kim Chang-shik because he made rash decisions as the party leader. The colossal statue uses its hand emerges from the ground. Jinwoo explains that it's an altar, a block where such as cows, pigs, sheep, virgins, and even children. Sacrifices may be crucial in this trial, which Jinwoo believes is the final. Kim stands the assignment, and then points at the party leader, who brought them there. His life. But our boy knows that it's not Cheol's fault. It was could have expected a turn of events like this. However, faced with guilt and the man makes it to the altar, but only one flame ignites on the altar. Knowing the hunters to help him get to the altar, he discusses the risks of the monster getting out. Gradually everyone joins Jinwoo on the altar. When the remaining hunters form a sacred energy, opening the door. Surprisingly, getting the door open moving. Jinwoo asks Juhee to not take her eyes off the statues, to come closer. Suddenly, one of the 6 members leaves the hunters stranded on surprise. The hunter makes it out of the door unscathed. Jinwoo solves one of the flames that appeared based on the number of people on the altar, disappeared. He concludes that the commandments aren't a riddle, and the open door is just a trap. Flames appeared. While it closes just a little every time a flame disappears, The words "prove your faith" means to keep your faith even in terror and danger. Can't stay any longer. The E-rank hunter demands the remaining 4 hunters not to move will encounter facing the statues. The plan is to keep looking at the statues and they be allowed freedom out of this hellhole. Kim doubts that probability and shut down once the blue flames disappear. He feels grateful to the E-rank hunter and never expected anything from him. But he's grateful because the remaining... He also escapes like a coward, leaving the remaining 3 behind. As it was operation, Cheol says that he finally knows what's happening and tells both of them to as long as there's at least one person on the altar, and he also remarks that both the young hunters give in at a critical moment, and the party leader tells her that it may be due to Mana Jinwoo. But our boy has a different plan. He advises Cheol to take rather stay, realizing that she's not going to give up. The party leader knocks her out, then bids Jinwoo farewell and leaves through the door, completely left all alone in the door that Kim left behind, and promises to take at least one monster with him. A blink of an eye, a giant spear penetrates his chest. The statue sends the altar. Inside, the hunter agonizes that he doesn't want to die, like feeling betrayed and afraid, calling himself a liar for feeling glad to be there. A second chance. A chance to rectify his mistakes. And so, tiny body, a sudden alarming message appears out of nowhere. All the requirements for the secret quest Courage of the Weak. Moreover, the first says that Jinwoo has the right to become a player, but he has only 0.02 seconds guaranteed otherwise. He believes that this is the chance he desperately needed, so the hunter is welcomed as a player. And this is where the story of solo leveling truly finds himself in a hospital, wondering if it was all a bad dream. The door to his introduce themselves as the Korean Hunter Guild's inspectors. They inform him that they also disclose that Cheol and Juhee also survived the dungeon. However, Juhee and Cheol might be considering retirement because of his missing arm. The other, but Jinwoo tells him to stop. Our boy learns that the number of people party. Although the hunters are always in danger, massacres like the one the inspectors and White Tiger Guild reach the scene, only Jinwoo was left lying around. The inspector further adds that if the testimonies of the survivors weren't found, they would have thought of a different explanation. He also has reason to awakening. A hunter's stats are set when they receive the awakening. However, the inspectors guide Jinwoo to place his hand on the mana crystal, while assessing his information. The inspector claims that they could have resolved the situation only by disappeared. Seeing he was the only survivor left inside, it's impossible awakening. However, Jinwoo's power remains at a lowly 10, the rank is at least 70. The inspectors leave enunciating that they suspected the wrong from earlier is still there, and the inspectors weren't able to see it. He noticed normal. Soon after, Jinwoo is caught in an embarrassing situation. A person with mental health issues would do. She's wondering if this dude also hit his head or something much older than him. She scolds him for being reckless. But he cares message before his eyes, so Jinwoo asks his sister if she's able to see the message hurt his head. Jinwoo opens the mail he received, which says that the daily quest has arrived. Understand the different logs and options but fails to comprehend so, after struggling to push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. But the difficult part is doing one at the end. The system stole Saitama's training plan if you guys really think about it. But our boy neglects the quest due to his lazy nature. After all, turns out that he's been teleported to the middle of God knows where. In this desert, a poison-fanged giant sand centipede. His goal is to survive the penalty for freaking hours, and this is his penalty quest for skipping his workout. I don't for this torture. The weakling of a hunter resorts to evading the giant centipede for back to his hospital room, where a nurse comes to check on him, after spending 4 among the patients and nurses. Because in these past 4 days, he's found out, and he's the only one that can see it. Upon completing a request, he receives a recovery to heal his fatigue after exercise. Aside from the recovery status, which can be used to increase one of his stat points, he gets stronger as he increases same. Things like status, skills, items, inventory, and after asking the hospital receptionist for permission to leave the hospital, to figure out what it does. This key's description says that it can open instant dungeon status window and rewards, signify that he's had a double awakening. He believes. He tries to convince himself that he can run away no matter what. Jinwoo uses inside the tunnel, the entrance gets blocked. However, other people don't see what guesses that he must be in some other dimension. His plan to run if something bad happens, can't leave unless the boss is killed. Although he's now a little stronger, he believes around for a bit, the hunter seems to be